Hello, in the last video, we met a nursing student who knew exactly what to do, but might still fail if she didn't care enough to double check. Today, we're staying on exactly that, the domain of caring, valuing, and commitment. This is the domain instructional design skips the most, and arguably the one artificial intelligence is making the most important. By the end of this video, you'll understand all 5 levels of the affective domain in real depth, be able to spot which level an objective is actually targeting, and see why this domain matters more, not less, in the age of artificial intelligence. In 1964, David Crathwell, Benjamin Bloom, and Bertrand Messier published the affective domain as the second piece of Bloom's original taxonomy work. Where the cognitive domain asks what can they think through, the affective domain asks something harder to measure. What do they actually value, and will they act on it when no one's grading them? Level 1 is receiving, simply being willing to notice and pay attention. This is the floor, not the ceiling. A student who sits quietly through a lecture on academic integrity without tuning out is at the receiving level. They haven't done anything yet, they've just allowed the idea in. Level 2 is responding. Active participation, not just passive presence. Now the student answers the question about academic integrity, joins a discussion, maybe completes a related assignment. The key shift. They're doing something even if it's just compliance or curiosity, not yet conviction. Level 3 is valuing, and this is where it gets real. The student now attaches actual worth to the idea. They might voluntarily bring up academic integrity in a conversation or feel genuine discomfort watching a classmate cut corners. This is the first level where you can say the student actually cares, not just complies. Level 4 is organizing. This is where competing values get resolved into a system. Say a student values both academic integrity and helping struggling classmates. What happens when a friend asks them to share answers? Organizing is building an internal hierarchy, deciding integrity wins, and being able to explain why, not just feel torn. And level 5, characterizing, is where a value becomes part of who someone is. It's consistent, automatic, and doesn't need active decision-making anymore. A student at this level doesn't cite an AI tool's output as their own, not because they're worried about getting caught, but because doing otherwise would feel like acting against their own character. This is the level Crathwell's team considered the hardest to design for, because you can't assign characterizing as homework. It builds over time through repeated experience at the lower levels. So that's all 5 levels. Here's the fast way to tell them apart. Receiving is noticing. Responding is participating. Valuing is caring enough to act unprompted. Organizing is resolving conflicts between values. And characterizing is when the value simply is who they are. Here's why this domain matters more now. Artificial intelligence can produce polished writing, code, and analysis in seconds, which means the gap between a student who merely knows the rules around honest AI use and one who genuinely values honesty has never mattered more. 2 students can submit identical-looking AI-assisted work. One is at the valuing level, disclosing the process because they care about transparency. The other is at receiving. They heard the policy once and are hoping not to get caught. Same cognitive knowledge, completely different affective levels, completely different outcome for learning and integrity. The hard truth about this domain is that you can't assess it with a multiple choice quiz, and you can't teach it in a single lecture. It builds through repeated lived experience, which means if you only design for the cognitive domain, you're leaving the most AI resistant part of learning completely unaddressed. But how to teach and measure effective learning outcomes? Now, I don't have a validated answer to hand you here. The truth is, measuring the affective domain is generally hard. Motivation, attitude, values, emotional engagement don't show up on a quiz the way facts do. And maybe because of that, it stayed one of the most underexplored corners of learning research, even as artificial intelligence makes it more important than ever. So I'll leave it open. Please tell me in the comments, as a teacher, a researcher, or a student, how do you think we should even begin measuring effective learning outcomes? I would love to hear from you. Next time, we'll do the same deep dive on the psychomotor domain and why artificial intelligence simulation is changing where the domain starts, not where it ends.